Welcome to What's in Your Earbuds on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network by Run Try Bike. I am Jason Bahamundi, one of the co-hosts of the show, and I am joined today by Joe Harden, and we are going to be talking about entrance music since it is baseball season, and we are about 2 to 3 weeks into that season. Relief pitchers are getting in there and making their entrance songs heard loud and clear. But before we get into that discussion, we are going to be talking to Santino Williams about music and his choices for running and playlists. And speaking of which, we will update you on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network playlist on Spotify. So before we bring Santino in, Joe, how are you doing today, brother?
Good. I'm excited to talk about music. It's another one of those topics that I'm supremely passionate about. So I'm always stoked to talk tunes with my friends.
One of the things I love about having joined this show is because I am not an aficionado on music, is hearing these songs and writing things down and then adding them to the playlist. Last week we had Caitlin Carew on Fiery Embers, and I asked her walk-up music, and she gave it to me, and I added it to the playlist, and now I feel like I'm becoming, one with the tunes, shall we say.
Like, yeah. I've seen an increasing number of your ads on there, so you're far removed from not a music person anymore. So
I can't hold that line anymore. I will say this: I still don't run with music, so there's that. I will hold on to that.
Just not if it's not Dance Monkey, right?
If it's not Dance Monkey for 4 hours in a 1 mile loop, that's right. All right, dude. So let's get Santino on the show. Santino is a friend of the Run Try Bike community in more ways than one. He is an absolute supporter of ours. He has been on our Fiery Ember show. He has been on our Food Fight Friday at the Aid Station show. And he even brought to across the years in Phoenix a 5-pound bag of nerd clusters for Lori and myself. So, I mean, this guy endeared himself to us immediately when that happened. So without further ado, let's bring Santino onto the show and let's chat some music. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm hanging in there. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. I can't see the shirt. What does it say? Mac Dre?
It is Mac. I had to go music theme today, so I literally anytime I get to do a guest spot with you guys, I like to coordinate my outfits with whatever the theme is. So since we're talking music, I figured I'd represent my favorite rapper of all time.
Fantastic.
Nice.
What's the first song you hear when the word Mac pops into your head?
The first song I hear when the word Mac pops into my head. Oh God. I don't see now. I'm biased, and since we were just talking about Mac Dre, I'm gonna go Mac Dre "Feeling Myself." That's made a lot of my running playlists. That's just kind of been a song that's carried me for a while.
For me, I guess because I'm an old hat, "Return of the Mac" by Mark.
Oh yes.
Oh my goodness, I have not heard that song in a long. Maybe I'll age myself there, but that was like a middle school dance banger.
I was just gonna say 8th grade graduation.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Fantastic.
Dude, I am 51 years old, so most of the shit I'm going to talk about is going to be old. It was released in 1996, which is March 4th of 1996, which is 1 year after I graduated from college, mind you.
Oh my goodness. No comment, I guess.
Well, hey. I think we all reach a certain age where it's like we're all in the same age group now.
Yeah.
Joe, I know you have some questions set up for Santino, so I'll turn the mic over to you and let you get that ball rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Santino, thanks for coming on. First, I want to say I appreciate you. You always throwing suggestions at us. They're always good. A while back, you got me on. You made me go down a really amazing and long 9 Inch Nails rabbit hole a few months ago, and I'm still riding that high. I forgot about Mr. Self-Destruct. I was I just had to listen to it. Same thing. It's like a throwback to middle school or the high school days because that was 9 Inch Nails was my jam. So thanks for putting that up. And
of course.
It made me revisit some good jams, and I was totally forgot how good Trent Reznor is at everything he does. So, yeah, man,
Right?
thanks for that suggestion.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, no, I remember that conversation, and yeah, that's one that yeah, probably about once every so many months, it's like I'll revisit, one of the old albums, and it's like, oh, like half of this is going on a running playlist for, whatever race I have coming up or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was like it's still been like in rotation since I think that was a few months back too. So I generated some questions. I won't lie, ChatGPT helped me out with a little bit of this.
For sure.
So I got some random music questions for you, and we'll get to what the theme of the show is too after that. But
Okay.
so first question: if your life were a movie, what song would you play during the opening credits?
Oh God. Uh,
Right? I can't even answer these questions myself. So
Uh,
I can try.
the thing about this question is there's definitely a right answer here. So that's why, oh boy, and I'm not prepared for it is the problem. Um, okay. You know, as weird as it sounds, just because again, I keep going back to running playlists, and this one I've just kind of got a rotating generic playlist right now because I'm not training for anything in particular. But do you know the song Little Green Bag that was like at the beginning of Reservoir Dogs?
Oh
Not that
yeah,
I'm drawing up a lot of parallels between my life and Reservoir Dogs, but for whatever reason, that's like a really good mood setter to like start a run or whatever. So yeah, that's gonna start my movie.
I never like. Yeah, I was just talking about that movie. Like I work with some younger people, and
Yeah.
I was like, no one here has seen Reservoir Dogs. That was like 2 days ago. I was just like, wow. Okay, do yourself a favor. So yeah, Little Green Bag. All this will go on the playlist too, by the way.
For
Since you
sure.
Um, so cool. I still can't figure out what mine would be. I'll get back to that eventually one of these days. I asked this question in the last episode and I was like, I don't even know how to answer this myself.
That's a great song
That-
because it's got a smooth beat to it, and
Yeah.
you can see the story start to unfold of your life as that song is
Absolutely.
playing.
Absolutely. And it's sort of it's a very kind of smooth takeoff for running, for whatever. You know what I'm saying? You get out the door, and that first mile is always it's always the first mile, you know what I'm saying? But you
Yeah.
just kind of, oh, okay, yeah, this helps me kind of get into the rhythm, get into whatever this and that. And so it's the same thing with whatever my movie is ultimately going to be about here. It's just going to be a nice, smooth takeoff.
Who's before Joe? You asked the next question. Who's who's playing the lead role? Who's playing you in the movie?
Oh God, that's another really good question. Uh, Unfortunately, he passed away a while ago. But I always said if somebody were to play me in a movie, I'd want it to be Alan Rickman. Uh,
Oh, nice.
Wow!
but
Yippee ki
yeah,
motherfucker! Good one.
Yeah.
but that's one I'd really have to stop and think about now because boy, there's a lot of options that I'd probably be flattering myself, but at the same time, it's like,
You just opened up a whole new world for me because I'm like 5'6", and I think Kevin Hart's probably around that same height. So now I'm thinking maybe Kevin Hart plays me in the.
Kevin Hart.
I could see it. I could see it.
Who on earth would I pick? Steve Buscemi? Because I'm just thinking of Reservoir Dogs, but for me, not for you. Sorry, Jason.
Recency bias. The crazy thing about Steve Buscemi, did you guys know that he was a New York City firefighter?
I
It
did.
was the craziest shit. Like, of all the paintings in your mind of what a New York City firefighter would look like, he's got to be the last one, right? Like, that's got to be the last pick of what you would perceive.
Well,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
sort of. I learned that around the time. Did you watch the show Boardwalk Empire?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
phenomenal.
loved that show up until. I mean, they obviously kind of ran out of ideas
Yeah.
towards the end, but I loved that show. But his character was a former sheriff, and I was like, oh, I couldn't see even him being
Yeah.
young being a sheriff, and somebody's like, yeah, he was like a firefighter IRL, and it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And so that's how I learned about that. But
That show actually had a good music score to it as well.
it really did.
It had a really good
Yeah, it
music
did.
score to it.
Yeah,
Anyway, Joe, I hijacked you.
So you made me think of something. You said you're not training for anything right now, so your music playlist like leans towards one way or the other. when you're training versus not? Like, what does that look like? Let's say you are actively training for something right now.
So
Like,
when I
what do
have
you,
a
yeah, what do you think
when I
changes? I guess.
Well, when I have a race that I'm training for, I'll pick a theme song for that race. It doesn't necessarily have to like go with the race, but it's like, okay, this is my song for this race. And
Nice.
then I base my entire playlist off of that. So, you know, trying to think, God, what was I don't even remember what it was for Mesa now. Um, but like, okay, before that, it was, I just ran Lucky Half Marathon. And so I did kind of like a St. Patrick's theme,
Ooh.
which there's a song, again, going back to Bay Area rap. There's a rapper, Andre Nicotina. He used to be Dre Dog back in the day. He has a song, Dice of Life, which it has this like kind of the beat reminds me of Leprechauns. So that was literally why I chose it for Lucky. And then I just kind of built my whole playlist for training and for the race off of that. So it was a lot of Bay Area rap and things like that.
Oh, that's cool. I kind of love how you're like curating a list off of like, this is like my main song for this, right? I love how you're like building off of that. That's kind of, I do the same thing for, like, I haven't done it recently, but going back to the 5K challenge we did a while back, I set up, I wanted, 30 minutes of music, and just like, I knew what I wanted my like finish song to be. My last mile song was going to be this. And then I brought it back to like kind of build up to that. So that's kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
cool that you do that too.
5K is kind of a tough distance to build a playlist for. But I try and do the same thing. Now, if I'm doing longer, like marathons, things like that, it's like, okay, if I know I'm like 2 hours in at this point, I can kind of gauge from my training how far in I'll be. And it's like, okay, I need something kind of angry. I need something kind of upbeat to, kind of help me catch that second wind at this point or whatever. And, it is kind of fun to kind of curate based off of that. But 5K, I don't know, man. I at some point I'm gonna run another 5K. And every time I run one, it's like, that's the last one right there.
Yeah,
Because it's 20 minutes of just all out,
yeah,
torturing yourself.
It
So
sucks. It absolutely.
yeah.
absolutely. Okay, this is going to be really tough, Santino. Like I
Okay.
said, I think I'll open this up for albums too. To be fair on this
Okay.
one, if you could listen to only one song, or let's say album, for the rest of your life, which song or album would that be? I still can't answer this one. I thought about this
Oh
since the
God.
last time. Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
easy,
No.
man. This is one of the
I,
easier questions you've asked. Rob Bass, It Takes Two. Like, I would just listen to that for the rest of my life. That's easy.
What would it be? Oh, It Takes Two. Okay. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Song, I don't know that I could come up with a song. Album, I'm gonna say it's not even my favorite album, but it's probably the album I appreciate the most. I've lost count of how many times I've listened to the album. But Donuts by Jay Dilla.
Okay.
There's just something about, I mean, obviously, you have the whole concept of like Dilla time, and he sort of revolutionized production on that end. But there is just something about that particular album where it's like him just completely showcasing, the ridiculous depths of his abilities, where you're getting, this kind of superficial offbeatedness, if that's a word, um,
It's
on
a
so
word.
many tracks where it's like, oh, this totally shouldn't go, but like it hooks you almost right away, and it's like, oh no, he's done something amazing here. So there's definitely something that I really enjoy, kind of sitting down and geeking out over that album. Probably once every couple of weeks. I don't go too long without giving that a rotation. So that would easily be my choice for if there was only one album. One song, I don't know that I can come up with an answer for you, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's tough. That's
People's
It's
choices
a
are so interesting,
yeah.
man. Like, my first reaction was I could go to Motown or a Jackson 5 album where it would calm me down, right? It wouldn't get me hyped up and running around. It would be something that's timeless. And so
Yeah.
immediately I'm like Jackson 5 or something out of Motown from back in the day would be the thing that I would like okay, I could listen to this for the rest of my life as a single album.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and that's the thing, even God, even within that genre, it would have to be the kind of thing where it's like I'd have to kind of go into it with a blank mind. First thing that popped into my head, that's my answer. Because
Yeah.
there's no way you can't overthink that.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
with,
I'm gonna try to take a crack at this because I've been thinking about this. I asked this one on another podcast, but it's like you, Santino. It's like not even necessarily my favorite band or album, but I think I could listen to. There's this like live OAR double disc, and I think I could listen to that for the rest of my life. And it's not because the album's so good. It's before me and Cassie had kids, we used to just like take these like wild road trips, and we had like 4 CDs, and that was 2 of them. They're like a buddy, a buddy of mine left in my car, and we used to like jam to that playlist everywhere we went. So it's like it's not the best album, but I think I could do that one maybe.
For sure, for
yeah.
sure. No, and I think that's the thing. It's even if it is like your favorite album, you don't, and maybe that's just me. I don't necessarily like to listen to my favorite music on repeat because
Yeah,
something wears off after a while. You know what I'm saying? But there are some albums, some songs, some whatever, where it's like just that inner music nerd in you. It strikes such a chord that it's like, oh no, I'm gonna listen to this, back to back on repeat for the next like 2 hours. So yeah.
I wonder if
yeah.
we
You
ask
want
this question broadly, the choices with the story part, right? So for Joe, that album is the connection to before you had kids. For me, Motown, Jackson 5, all of that stuff was playing in my house as a kid. Like every Friday, my parents would have family and friends over, they'd have a house party, and that's the music that was played during those house parties. And that's the stuff that, so for me, yeah, the music is fantastic, but it's the transportation back
yeah,
in time to get to that place that the connection lies.
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And it's so strongly tied to memories. That's kind of the really great thing about music that I find is, certain songs will just kind of transport you to certain places. And I know, Joe, like you were saying about, you'll kind of curate your finish line songs for certain races, whatever. There are certain, races where it's like you're dying, you're really struggling to, and crossing that finish line, it's like I don't remember anything else about the experience other than what was going on in my earbuds at the time, and it's like that song forever goes into the hall of fame because of that. So just to kind of put it in that context, but then yeah, you think back on just previous life events, things like that. It's incredible how inextricably linked certain songs can become to certain periods in your
Oh,
life.
absolutely. Yeah, like a song can be like a time capsule. Like
Absolutely.
you don't realize it till you hear it, and you're like, oh wow, like you remember like where you were when you heard it, or like what finish line you crossed. It's like
Oh
amazing
yeah.
the power behind like a little blip of a song can just be like, it'll just like take you back. It's pretty wild.
Oh, big time, big time.
Okay, so the third question. This one might be a little easier. I don't know. These get increasingly harder every time.
You didn't
um,
realize this was a test, did you?
yeah, sorry, Stacey.
Hey, that's half the fun.
I broke out the big guns on these questions. Or Chat GPT. Thank you, Chat GPT. Which musician would you hang out with for an entire day if you could?
Ooh,
uh So I mean I have like I don't want to like name drop. If you
drop
scroll
them,
my
drop them.
Instagram, there's well no, if you scroll on my Instagram, it's not like I hide it, but I'm cousins with a famous-ish musician. So I certainly have. But like if I could take my pick, now is it any musician from history, alive or no longer with us, or is it got to be somebody who's living?
I say let's go across the board. Just living or not.
Okay, across the board, honestly, I think just in terms of being kind of an interesting person, and I don't know, enough about his history overall, but again, just kind of being a product of Northern California, growing up in the Bay Area, Um, I'm gonna go Jerry Garcia.
Oh,
Ooh,
Just because, like, I
phenomenal.
think overall he'd be, kind of a cool person to hang around with, just to kind of. Now, I'm sure I'll say that and like look it up and like there's some horrible thing that like came out. But that being said, just not knowing every little facet of his life, and hopefully there's nothing horrible about Jerry because I still do listen to the Grateful Dead a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
but yeah, that's who I'm going with. I'm pretty confident in that answer.
I just had a 12-hour throwdown of Terrapin Station yesterday. So Jerry Garcia would probably be. I was gonna go Jerry Garcia on that, or I always thought it'd be cool to spend a day with like Howlin' Wolf because he was famous, but he was like famous later. So
Yeah,
I guess I
yeah.
just went and like that's where like the roots of music started was like the Mississippi Delta like blues is what started like all the stuff that like it influenced all we're hearing now to some extent. So I think it'd be
Oh,
kind of
absolutely.
cool to like spend some time with someone from that like era too. I think it'd be kind of cool because their music was
Absolutely.
different. It wasn't about money. Yeah,
No, it was very much, more not even necessarily like a oh for the love of the game type thing, but these were musicians for the sake of being musicians, you know what I'm saying? The technical knowledge, in addition to all the lived experience that helped shape the art, yeah, that would be incredible.
yeah. So yeah, Jerry Garcia. I'll keep that. I didn't realize you were a Grateful Dead fan, so I like you even more now.
Nice. Oh yeah, no, my music tastes are pretty much across the board, so there's not really any one genre that I'll completely say no to. It's, you talk to people and they're like, "Oh, I love everything except country, this and that." Oh, you don't like Johnny Cash, you don't like, Willie Nelson. Like country is a pretty, broad brush to paint with. Or, oh, I don't like whatever the genre is, it's like you can't just like completely cut something out. It's like, yeah, there's certainly facets of every genre that I'm not wild about, but there's not anyone that I'm going to completely, extricate from my music library, just because you're missing out on a lot of good stuff if you do that.
Yeah, it's like I always say that I don't like jazz, but then it's like, well, I like Thelonious Monk and like Louis Armstrong, so it's like, well, that's out the window. But
Miles Davis.
Absolutely.
Like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't hear. I was expecting to hear Jimi Hendrix from one of you two as the person to hang
oh
out with.
yeah, that'd be a
Jimi
good one
Hendrix
too.
crossed my mind too. He did.
Yeah,
Charlie Parker as well, in the interest of full disclosure. But yeah.
Like, I was thinking Hendrix and Adam Levine, because there have been
Adam Levine.
statements that Adam Levine is one of the guitarists that could have played like Jimmy did. And I know Prince is in that category as well. Like, Prince would be a fucking fantastic person to hang out
Oh,
with.
for
shredded
sure.
shredded guitars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a cover where like Prince. Oh, who else is in there? It's like Prince and Steve Winwood and I forgot who else do a cover of "My Guitar Slowly Weeps." Like Prince just absolutely blows the lid off that place with his guitar solo. It's the best guitar solo I've ever seen, like
Oh,
in a
I'm
video.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm making a note. I gotta look this up after
yeah.
this.
I can't remember who else is in it. There's a bunch of like A-list musicians, and then Prince just shreds the solo for that song. It was a Paul McCartney song, but
Yeah.
it's so good. Yeah, highly recommend. I think I found it on YouTube. It's really really good.
Nice.
Here's the whole thing about this conversation too. Like, in a week and a month from now, we could ask that same question. It would be a completely different answer, because there's recency bias that's going to come into play, right? How you're feeling, what life has thrown at you, whether you're in a hype up moment in your life or whether you're in a down moment in your life. Like, it will change constantly.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, my answer will probably change like tomorrow. I bet, given the Uh, okay, I have another really random question. This one
Okay.
I've asked now twice, and I always look forward to hearing the answer. If aliens visited Earth and you had to play them one song to represent humanity,
Oh God.
which song would you choose? Given how things are looking lately, this might
Yeah.
be an interesting
Uh,
choice. But
And,
well, yeah.
and go home can't be the choice.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I've never really fully formed an opinion on AC/DC one way or another, but I'm gonna go Highway to Hell. 'Cause, I mean, look around.
That's perfect. That is perfect. Yep. That's
Nailed
one on
it.
the playlist. That's
Nailed
amazing.
it.
Um, cool. I've got one more question, but I want to do. Can I give me just a second to do a quick update? Thank you,
Okay.
everybody, for adding your songs. We are up to 24 hours and 48 minutes. We are looking for 30 hours for the Golden Hour Challenge by Howlin 100. It's amazing. We gained like 10 hours of music in like the last month. And big shout out to Will Eady. He added some good songs for his walkout music. Disposable Heroes by Metallica. Welcome to the Terror Dome by Public Enemy, which is an amazing song. And Just Get a Rep by Gangstar. So thank you, Will. Okay, now the big question for the episode is, Santino, what's your walkout music? Baseball season, so we want to know walkout music. So what is yours?
This is a conversation that I've thought about a lot. I've had this conversation with you, Jason, before. I've had this conversation with my wife a bunch of times. Now, in my own mind, I have walk up music for like races and stuff like that. When I line up in the corral, every playlist starts with the same song, and that's "The Lonely Bull" by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, just because I like that like brass flourish at the beginning, and that kind of gets me hyped up. Um, so that I kind of call like my entrance music for running. But if I were a baseball player, I don't know what it would be if I came up to bat. But if I were a relief pitcher, preferably a closer, if I'm
Okay.
coming out of the bullpen, it's epic. Faith No More.
Oh,
That has been
That's a
right.
great song.
I'm
Like
a
that's
big
the
Faith No
thing
More fan.
with the entrance music for the relief pitcher and the walk-up music for the hitter. Like the walk-up music for the hitter is almost always like something calming, right? Because they got to be calm at the plate. But the entrance music for the reliever has got to get the crowd into it. They've got to, the lights are going to be flashing. Everything is on the line when you're walking from the bullpen in, and it better be something that gets you so juiced that first pitch might end up in the third deck because you're just so fired up and just throw it as hard as you can.
Yeah, nice spin on that too. I didn't even think about relief pitch music because that's a totally, they get way more time, and like Jason said, it's usually like really really hype and like. So
Exactly.
excellent,
Yeah,
man.
you're
That's a
running
great
in from the
spin.
outfield. You got a good, 20, 30-second sprint there that you gotta do. So yeah, you definitely have to have something to really kind of get the blood flowing. And I mean, that's definitely a song that makes my running playlist from time to time. But yeah, I don't know why a closer hasn't used that before. I'm sure, somebody can get on and be like, oh, well, actually, in so and so for, the Blue Jays in 1998 fucking came out to it one
There's no
time or
way they
something.
were doing this in
But
1998.
no,
There's no way.
no.
There's no
But
way.
I'm just saying, like, you have your closers who they have their music that it's like, oh, this is them. And like nobody's ever had that be their song, which I've always kind of thought was weird because like that's the perfect song for a closer. But that's just
I
me.
think that you have to be good for a number of years before you get that association, right?
Yeah.
So like Edwin Diaz and Narco and Mariano Rivera with Enter Sandman, like those guys have been good for a long time. There may have
Yeah.
been one guy who one season had 55 saves and then the next year, couldn't hit the broadside of a barn and we never know of him ever again.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Is Mariano's Enter Sandman the first?
Mariano was Enter Sandman. Yeah.
Well, was he the first that you can remember that would connect a song to a closer coming into the stadium? For me, that's the first and only one that until more recently.
I think that's the most famous one for me. I don't know if it's the first, just, being a Dodger fan. I'm going Eric Gagne, Welcome to the Jungle.
Yeah, Gagne
That
was
was
good
probably like
too.
my first memory of, because like that was when they get like the lights into it and
Yeah,
everything, and it
yeah.
was a big deal. But that was probably around the same era.
What was Kenley Jansen walking into?
California Love.
Oh, that's a good
nice.
one too.
Yeah.
Not as pump up hype like Welcome to the Jungle or Enter Sandman, Like, because
Well,
Enter Sandman was also, while it's not pump up, like that bell ringing, like
oh yeah,
you
yeah,
know that the game is over when that bell starts
yeah.
ringing.
Oh yeah. I think Kenley, he had, what was it? Shit. I want to say it was 2017 where he was just lights out. So yeah, you'd hear that first like little, whatever you call the first vocal chord of California Love, that California, and
Yeah.
the roof, not that there is a roof on Dodger Stadium, but the roof of that place just blew the fuck off when that because it's like, oh, he's coming in and it's a quick 3 outs. So
Yeah, great song too.
It's
oh yeah.
amazing nowadays how the stadiums have become like mini concerts when the closers enter. The
Oh yeah.
lights are flashing, they're on and off, like the sound, the music is blaring. It's incredible how much that has changed. Like as a Met fan, like in 1986 when Roger McDowell or Jesse Orosco were entering into the game, they were not blasting this music whatsoever, right? They just came in and that was the end of it. Like there was no entrance.
Yeah. Well, that was they used to have the little golf carts back in the
Yeah, they
day
had
though.
the
So
golf
I
carts
guess,
back then.
yeah, I guess it probably although I mean it still would have been kind of cool to see him coming out on the golf cart with a little background music.
Nowadays it would not be a little golf cart. They'd have like the door wings flying
Oh, like
open.
pyros going off. That'd be awesome, actually. Somebody needs to bring that back. Like one of you MLB owners who listens to the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. I need you to take this advice. Bring the golf cart back, but do it big.
Yeah, do it really big because you got to justify the cost of the tickets, and that would be one way to do it.
Absolutely.
Joe, do you have any other questions lined up?
That's it. That's it, man. Santino, thank you. That was I know those are some heavy hitters, but
Yeah, no, this was awesome. I had like too much fun as always. Whenever I sit down and chat with any of you guys, it's always a great experience. But no, this was a lot of fun because this is one of those things where and I know it's the same for you guys too. I could sit and just kind of geek out over music for give me a whole afternoon with nothing on my schedule, and let's sit and chat. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this. Here's a follow-up to this. So most of us these days, we can also get music on our TVs.
Mhm.
So like oftentimes when we work from home, we'll turn on, some music channel and just let it play throughout the day. Where are you headed to? If you had to pick one today's Monday. So on a Monday where you're trying to catch up from emails that accumulated over the weekend and heading into the rest of the week, what's the channel you're putting on? What's the genre that you're going to put on for this Monday?
So I'm a weirdo. When I work, if I'm not doing anything like editing or whatever that requires me to like listen to, you know, what I'm working on, I actually do really well. I'll put on, some sort of EDM and just crank it all the way up, and that just kind of helps me focus on the task at hand. I'm not quite sure, what or the why as to, you know, how it's so effective for me, but it really is. So yeah, if I need to be productive, it's I'll do some sort of EDM mix on like Apple Music or something like that. Now, if it's just kind of chilling, if it's sitting around reading a book or whatever, there is a channel on YouTube, and I'm gonna butcher the name. It's a record store in San Francisco, actually, that they'll have like DJ sets from time to time, and it's disco something. Let me pull it up real quick.
Joe, while he's doing that, where are you headed on a Monday?
well, I have like weird themes. Like I like to do like Metal Monday. I
Okay.
don't really share that, but lately, whenever I've been home and just need some like good background music, me and a buddy of mine had been like bouncing. Have you ever seen the Tiny Desk concerts that they do on YouTube?
No.
Dude, like Juvenile did one.
The
Like
Juvenile one was awesome.
it was so good, and like 311 did one. Like it's just like it's been blowing my mind doing like watching these Tiny Desk concerts. So I've just been like glued to those whenever I just need something like on. So yeah, it blew me away.
Oh yeah, no, they do a really great job with the Tiny Desk concerts. And now
So
I
good.
can't find my channel here.
You guys are expanding my my library of choices. There's 0% chance if I'm not on this show right now that I would even know what a Tiny Desk concert is or where to look.
Oh, you are in for a treat. No, you need to look those up, because there is a whole they've been doing them for, probably close to 10 years now. So there's a whole library, and take your pick. It's cross genre. So, a ton of great artists have gone through there, but those Tiny Desk concerts are absolutely awesome.
Yeah, you can't run out of them at this point. And I don't think I've seen a bad one yet. And
I haven't either.
And you'll hear a song that you liked a long time ago, but you appreciate it for like a totally different reason. Like, it's just amazing. 311, like Juvenile and 311, just absolutely, it was just so good.
Over on Instagram, shout out to Josh Cronin for joining in the conversation. Petty and Jeff Lynne said it was a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame performance. I'm guessing that's the conversation we had about with Jimi Hendrix and the guitar.
Oh yeah. What's up, Josh, by the way? And yes, this is the channel, and of course I can't okay. Discodelic Discos Viajentes.
Okay. I'll have to add that to my queue.
So yeah, it's a record store in San Francisco. They'll have guest DJs come in. It's mostly kind of like old school Latin, whatever, this and that, but it's it's just great. You put it on, and I mean, there's varying degrees of DJ. Some of them are just, absolute killers up there, but they're all good. But the thing I find is, I've gotten introduced to so many like old school tracks that I didn't even know about just through watching these DJs. It's incredible.
Cool. You have to check that out.
I'll have to check that out. Now we'll end up putting a lot of those songs, I'm sure, onto the playlist. We'll be at the 30-hour mark.
Easily.
27 and a half hours tomorrow morning.
Santino, thank you for joining us again. We really appreciate your time and your insight into music. And I'm sure we'll be sending out an invite for another one of our shows on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us.
Heck yeah.
Thank you for having me. Of course. Thank you. Gentlemen, you have a good rest of your Monday. And let's make this week a good one, huh?
You got it. All right, Joe. So we have a number of songs that we've got to add to this playlist. We will hit that golden hour, 30-hour mark way before October at this pace. I think Santino just gave us like an hour or two right there.
Yeah, I was trying to get him down as quick as I could. There was a lot of good ones.
There was a lot of good ones. I
have
Little Green Bag and Dre Dog I've written down as well. So we'll get them all set up there, and we'll continue to get that playlist going, because it is super important, as you know, because I want you to share with our audience the message that you got earlier or over the weekend about the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network playlist on Spotify.
Yeah, that was Doug, actually. He'll be my Thursday guest. I don't know if I meant to or if I sent you a documentary that he filmed. If I didn't, I will send it to you. Doug, right? Like, you've heard of Doug, my buddy Doug from Recovery Roadrunners, but he sent it. I didn't ask him to post it, but I'm sure he won't care. But yeah, I definitely share it. I know he'll be down for that. So
yeah, it was a really cool message that he sent about how the playlist we had at a moment during a run hit him and helped him, in the moment, which I think we tend to forget. A lot of times we tend to think about, how do we rush to get to tomorrow instead of remembering where we are today and reflecting on yesterday's scenarios. And so it was really cool to see that message from Doug that you shared earlier today. So that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. They definitely made me want to keep chugging along on all this, because people are listening. I just don't think it's obvious. Like, but you hear stuff like that, and I get messages from time to time, so I know people listen to it and it means something to them. So 100%. That was just one that I had to share. So
cool. All right, dude. So I will see you in 2 weeks on the next What's in Your Earbuds on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. For those of you who have joined us and stuck with us throughout the live episode, thank you very much. And for those of you who are listening to it in podcast format or on YouTube, we really appreciate you. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review our network so that we can continue to bring great guests like Santino on and bring great conversations ranging from music to food to men's mental health and everything in between. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for listening.